Argus or Argos Panoptes Ancient Greek, Alpha Rho Gamma Omicron Sigma Pi Alpha Nu Omicron Pi Tau Eta Sigma All-Seeing Argos is a many-eyed giant in Greek mythology. Argus Panoptes Alpha Rho Gamma Omicron Sigma Pi Alpha Nu Omicron Pi Tau Eta Sigma, guardian of the heifer nymph Io and son of Arestor I and probably Mycene II and other versions son of Gaia III, was a primordial giant whose epithet Panoptes All-Seeing led to his being described with multiple, often 100 eyes. The epithet Panoptes was applied to the god of the sun, Helios, and was taken up as an epithet by Zeus Panoptes. In a way Walter Burkert observes, the power and order of Argos the city are embodied in Argos the neitherd, lord of the herd and lord of the land, whose name itself is the name of the land. The epithet Panoptes, reflecting his mythic role, set by Hera as a very effective watchman of Io, was described in a fragment of a lost poem Aegimios, attributed to Hesiod 5. And set a watcher upon her, great and strong Argus, who with 4 eyes looks every way. And the goddess stirred in him unwearying strength, sleep never fell upon his eyes, but he kept sure watch always. In the 5th century and later, Argus' wakeful alertness was explained for an increasingly literal culture as his having so many eyes that only a few of the eyes would sleep at a time. There were always eyes still awake. In the 2nd century AD, Pausanias noted at Argos, in the temple of Zeus Larisaios, an archaic image of Zeus with a third eye in the center of his forehead, allegedly Priam's Zeus Hercaios purloined from Troy 6. Argus was Hera's servant. His great service to the Olympian pantheon was to slay the onyx serpent-legged monster Echidna as she slept in her cave 7. Hera's defining task for Argus was to guard the white heifer Io from Zeus, who was attracted to her, keeping her chained to the sacred olive tree at the Argiv-Heraean 8. She required someone who had at least 100 eyes spread out, always watching in all directions, someone who would stay awake despite being asleep. Argos was meant to be the perfect guardian. 9. She charged him to tether this cow safely to an olive tree at Nemi. Hera knew that the heifer was in reality Io, one of the many nymphs Zeus was coupling with to establish a new order. To free Io, Zeus had Argus slain by Hermes. The messenger of the Olympian gods, disguised as a shepherd, first put all of Argus' eyes asleep with spoken charms, then slew him by hitting him with a stone, the first stain of bloodshed among the new generation of gods. 10. After beheading Argus, Hermes acquired the epithet Archvince, or Argus Slayer 3. The sacrifice of Argus liberated Io and allowed her to wander the earth, although tormented by a gadfly sent by Hera, until she reached the Ionian Sea named after her, from where she swam to Egypt and gave birth to a love child of Zeus, according to some versions of the myth. According to Ovid, Argus had 100 eyes. 11. Hera had Argus' 100 eyes preserved forever in a peacock's tail so as to immortalize her faithful watchman. 12. In another version, Hera transformed the whole of Argus into a peacock. 13-14. The myth makes the closest connection of Argus, the neitherd, with the bull. According to the mythographer Apollodorus, Argus, being exceedingly strong, killed the bull that ravaged Arcadia and clad himself in its hide. Argus Panoptes is referenced in the scientific names of at least 8 animals, each of which bears a pattern of eye spots: reptiles Cinemespis Argus, Eremias Argus, Cybon Argus, Spherodactylus Argus, and the Argus monitor Varanus Panoptes. 16-17. The pheasant Argusianus Argus, the fish Cephalopholus Argus, and the cowrie Arestorides Argus.